Speedway Down Under, here to interview Michael Pickens for the upcoming 2016-17 season. So how has the off-season been going for you so far?
It's been going good. We're just waiting on a motor and a few bits and bobs, but we get in there and can't wait for it to get going.
As many of us know, you're doing double duty for the upcoming season. What engine and chassis are you running?
For the sprint car behind us, it's a Maxim chassis with a Maxwell Chev, and the midget is kind of a new thing for New Zealand for me, which is a King chassis and an Ed Pink Toyota.
So Michael, when did you start racing or show an interest in the Speedway?
I started go-karting sort of the mid-90s, and then showed an interest in quarter midgets, racing down at Rosebank Road in sort of late 90s, maybe 2000. And from there sort of progressed through the midget ranks, and you know, it all sort of started from there.
And achieved some amazing results.
Yeah, no, I've been fortunate enough to be tied up with some neat car owners throughout my career, and I'll be racing for Seamount Racing this coming season, which is pretty neat because they gave me my first big opportunity in New Zealand. So looking forward to getting them some results and trying to get another New Zealand title for them, and that'll be hopefully number 7. I'm tied up with Ted Trace at the moment, so that's a big goal of mine and something I'm hoping we can accomplish.
And looking to run the International Series?
Definitely in the midget and the sprint car.
So do you have a favourite track in New Zealand? Yeah,
my favourite track would be Ruapuna. I haven't raced there a whole lot, but throughout my career I've been lucky enough to race there a few times, and they always put on a really good track and meet people, and quite a cool atmosphere down there. And you know, maybe Western Springs will be my favourite track after this season. They're doing their best to lay a new track, and so far so good. I mean, it looks like it's going to be great, so yeah, we'll wait and see.
So can we look to see you running at Ruapuna at all this season?
We haven't got any plans to. The sprint car title I'd love to run, but unfortunately it's the same weekend as Chili Bowl, so yeah, and as much as I love you know, to go and do Chili Bowl again, that's my dream to win that race. I'll be missing the sprint car title.
Yeah. Do you feel there's a different level of expectations between sprint cars and midgets?
Yeah, I think so. With the midget, I've run it for a number of years now, and we've been fortunate enough to win a lot of races and a lot of big races, which has been really neat. And although we've won some races in the sprint car, I feel like we've got a lot more races to win, and some big races too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully we can meet those expectations.
So look to achieve more this season?
Yeah, definitely in the sprint car. We got going really good toward the end, and hopefully we can sort of pick up where we left off.
So you've had a lot of achievements throughout your racing career so far. Can you name your biggest achievement or achievements?
I guess there's a few that would rate up there. Running third in the Chili Bowl was really neat and quite special to me. We came pretty close to winning it, although we ran third, and you know, most people would probably think your biggest achievement would be a win. That's probably my biggest achievement, just because of the calibre of drivers and them, you know, the amount of drivers there. The Australian title was pretty special, not only because of what race it was, but how the race unfolded. It's one of those races you'll never ever forget, and probably my first New Zealand title.
You've also won 6 New Zealand titles and 6 50-lapper wins. How do they compare to your other results?
They're all special in their own right, and I've had different car owners and I've won them for different car owners, so each one is special. But yeah, the 3 I mentioned would probably stick on my mind the most.
Yeah, but you look to add to the tally of feature wins and stuff down here this season?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said previous, I'm looking for my 7th New Zealand title, which would be pretty neat. I've got to knock Ted Tracy off his perch there. I get on really good with Ted and we joke about it all the time, and that'll be pretty special to do that. And I think Ted, Sleepy Chip's got the most 50-lap wins of anyone, so I've got a long way to go to catch up to him, but yeah, we'll have fun trying.
Big milestones.
Yeah, huge, yeah.
So what hobbies do you have outside of Speedway?
I don't have a whole lot, but I do like mountain biking, and that's one excuse to keep fit too for Speedway. And when I get a chance, I love to get up to Woodhill and do a bit of that. But building a race car in winter and racing throughout the summer doesn't leave a whole lot of time for it. But it's yeah, it's nice to get away and do something different.
Yeah, definitely. So Michael, what's the most enjoyable part of being involved in Speedway?
The most enjoyable part would be winning without a doubt, and getting to that point to win a race is also super enjoyable, and it's rewarding for everyone that's involved. So yeah, I mean, working on the car week to week, and like you see behind me, the car's in a million bits and just almost a bare chassis. So there's a lot of work by a lot of people to get to that point of winning a race, and when you finally win that race, that's definitely the most enjoyable part.
Does winning in front of thousands of supporters make it any more special?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously Western Springs has got a wicked atmosphere, and people probably don't realise how awesome that atmosphere is compared to anywhere else in the world, and that's second to none, and that's also what makes winning that much better.
So who inspires Michael Pickens?
The person who inspires me the most is Sammy Swindell. The reason being is he outdrives, outbuilds, out-crew chiefs most guys, and an example of that is when he turns up to Chili Bowl and does all three of those. So it's pretty special to go to Chili Bowl and watch that when he doesn't run a midget very often, and he understands every inch of his race car, and not only of the aero side but the mechanical side, and the sponsorship side, the car owner side. He's owned his own team before, he engineers everything. He's definitely someone that inspires me for sure.
So it's pretty special having him come race in New Zealand?
Yeah, it's amazing, and the fans get to see one of the best, not only the best sprint car drivers, but one of the best midget drivers in the world.
Cool, so who is your most respected rival in New Zealand?
My most respected rival would be Jonathan Allard. He's a professional racer, and he's definitely a class act, and not only for what he does on the track but also for what he does off the track, and that's helping the local guys sort of get up to speed. So he doesn't have to do that, but it makes for better racing for the fans, and also helps the local guys sort of get to a point where that it may take them 5 years, whereas with the help of Jonathan, it definitely lifts their game a lot quicker.
So definitely a lot of appreciation.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm sure a lot of other drivers would say the same thing. And he races you hard without a doubt, but I appreciate that and try to race him hard back.
Definitely. So is there a track or tracks on your bucket list?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to race a fair few around Australia, America, and obviously New Zealand, but people in Missouri would be definitely one up there on my bucket list. It's where they run the Ironman 55 sprint car race, and yes, definitely a track I want to race at someday.
Cool. Hopefully you get there.
Yeah, thank you.
So what advice would you give to someone just starting out in Speedway?
I guess would be to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Definitely.
And I guess there's not just one thing you can pinpoint to help someone, but having a mentor, like I mentioned earlier in the interview, with someone like Jonathan Allard that can teach you and take years off your learning curve would be a huge bit of advice.
Definitely. A driver's very open to that, like having young people come up and ask questions.
Yeah, I think most drivers would be pretty approachable, and we'd be more than willing to help out someone learning, because not only that they want to see drivers do well, but they want to be able to race them cleanly on the track, and giving someone advice with that would only make their racing easier.
Yeah, and cause less issues, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's, we always want to go there and ultimately win, so with helping the young guys out, most drivers would be pretty open to it.
Yeah. So what was the transition like from midgets to sprint cars?
It's a pretty big transition, with various different things. Obviously the aerodynamics of the wing and the amount of downforce that creates, and the power and the size of it and everything else. But it's just a matter of seat time, but it's a transition I've enjoyed.
Was it hard adjusting to having the top wing as well with the quicker speeds?
Yeah, particularly at Western Springs, it's quite tricky because you don't have a lot of wing speed. Ideally, these cars would be on a bigger track where you create more wind speed, so they're a little bit more locked down. Sometimes in traffic they can get unloaded, which means they don't have enough air on the wing because of the size of Western Springs. So you learn to try and find clean air, and it's all just part of the learning experience, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, so how does the likes of Bay Park, which is a slightly wider track compared to Western Springs, running the two cars?
Yeah, Bay Park's fun. I mean, that comes down to how they prep the track, of course, but if they prep the same, then Bay Park's, it's probably a little more suited to sprint cars, being bigger and wider.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun in the midget also. I mean, it's wide, and particularly in the midget, so, so it's pretty racy there for sure.
Definitely. So throwing it back a few years to when you were just starting out, was it hard learning about adjustable shocks?
Yeah, it's more a matter of learning the shock valving and sort of when to adjust it and what the adjustment's going to do. It's the old story, they're only as good as old mate twisting on the knob, so you got to know when to do it, and you got to know what that's going to do. And there's things like fuel load and that sort of thing that can come into play as well. So it's it's one of the advantages we have in a midget, and we don't worry so much with the sprint car because of the adjustability of the wing, but in a midget for sure it's something which is a massive advantage if you understand what you're doing.
So it's a little bit of trial and error then?
Yeah, when you're learning for sure. I mean, there's been guys, really good drivers when those shocks first came out years and years ago that turned the wrong way, so they took them out of the car. And but once you understand what you're doing with them and know when to adjust them, they're definite advantage.
Yeah. So from a fan perspective, and obviously I don't race, so I'm a bit unsure. When you're setting up the car, does the track conditions affect how you set up the car if one end of the track is different to the other?
Yeah, it definitely does, and probably more so beginning of the night because of maybe one corner's got more shade than the other. But it's all about a compromise between one corner and another, and there's also the bottom groove of the track coming in, or the top, vice versa. So it's all about compromising because you can't set your car up to run in one lane or one turn better than the other. So that's what makes a clever crew chief. A clever crew chief has been able to compromise the car, so it's good in both.
So there's definitely a lot of technicality behind setting up a race car that fans don't tend to see or understand from the stands.
Yeah, definitely, and the experience of a good crew chief shows through when you get to a track that's maybe more challenging than others, and being consistent is key because you've got the driver wants to jump into the same car or a car that feels good every race. So it's a challenge for the crew chiefs, but like I said, that's what makes it a good one.
So Michael, do you have a fan page for anyone to follow?
Yeah, I do. It's facebook.com/Michael Pickens Racing. So all the fans that want to follow us throughout the season, they can like that and get updates. And you do a pretty good job of updating that throughout the night as well. If they're not there at the track, they can follow what we're doing.
Awesome. And is there any crew you want to thank?
Yeah, the guys. I mean, we're here tonight getting the sprint car ready, so the guys have been putting in the hours, and it's a massive thanks to them. Tony, Rodney, Steve Warrington, Haydo. They've done an awesome job. As you can see behind us, we're pretty close. As soon as we get the motor, we'll be good to go. So. Massive thanks to those guys. Awesome.
And is there any supporters or anyone special you want to thank?
Yeah, I guess the sponsors that make it happen for us, and the car owners, Warwick McKenzie, Pipeline Industries, and with the midget, Brett Morris and Seaman Racing. We've got a big season ahead, and can't wait to get going.
Definitely. So Michael, we from Speedwaydownunder would like to thank you for allowing us to do this interview this evening, and like to wish you all the best for the upcoming 2016-17 season.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you coming along.
Thanks.